invitation for applause won't be recorded. So, welcome everybody. For those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Adam DeBeck. I'm the Director of Career Development here at Holy Cross College. For all of the students here, a big part of my role is teaching senior capstone, and for parents and students, I want to take a quick moment and explain my perspective on what senior capstone is. It is not a commercial for Holy Cross so much as it is a commercial for the young men and women who are graduating from Holy Cross. Throughout the course of an entire semester, I invite students to think about this idea that we're supposed to educate your heart and your mind. And in order to figure out confidently where you're going and why your degree matters and that you're set up for success in life, you have to spend some time thinking about all the people, places, moments, success in the future. And so again, after about 13 weeks, I then ask students to do a very, very hard thing. Stand in front of their friends, peers, and loved ones and get an opportunity to share that. And we're really very proud and honored to be able to have Audrey extend this invitation to all of you here to be here for today. It's really, really wonderful to see a full room and to see this love and support be here. She'll give her presentation, and at the end, there's another step in the process, and that step is that alongside her coach, who I'll have introduced himself to a room who probably needs no introduction here in just 1 second, get a chance to just invite her into conversation with a few questions. No tricks, just, hey, there's some things that we hadn't heard about your story before, some things we noticed. We want to keep that conversation rolling. When she's done with that, her capstone is formally complete. I'll end the broadcast, the owl goes to sleep, and then please get up and share your love and support, take photos, and do all that. The room is yours for the afternoon, so I really do appreciate everybody being here. So with all of that being said, I'll allow Coach to introduce himself. We will welcome her, and then we'll get things started. So, Coach.
Oh my God, head coach, working soccer and soccer.
Yeah. With all that being said, we'll turn this over to Audrey and welcome her.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you everyone for being here. I really appreciate it. In case you don't know, my name is Audrey Filippo, and this is my senior capstone. So I was born and raised in a small town in Southwest Michigan called St. Joseph. I graduated from St. Joseph High School with two of my best friends, Morgan and Abigail. I met them when I was about 9 years old when we were playing soccer, and we've just kind of been best friends ever since. In high school, I played soccer and basketball all 4 years and ran cross country for one. Along with high school sports, I also played travel soccer with a local club called Jair, which made soccer take up most of my life with practices, games, and tournaments, which were like mini family vacations, which I absolutely love. Along with all that, one of the things that I love about St. Joe is that it's on the shore of Lake Michigan. So like I think the beach and like the lake is like a great getaway for me, and it's a great place to relax with family and friends. So this is my family. It consists of my mom and dad, who are high school sweethearts and have been married for 30 years this year. And my sister, Abby, who's a year older than me, and my brother, Isaac, who's 3 years younger than me. Both my parents are very hardworking people. My dad is a retired firefighter captain and works part-time at a fire investigation company. And growing up, he always loved giving me and my siblings quotes, especially before soccer games. But one that stood out to me the most was hard work beats talent, like talent doesn't work hard. And I think that one stuck with me the most just because I think it can apply to more things in life besides sports. And it basically just shows that if you're willing to put in the work, people will eventually notice and you'll get rewarded for it. My mom works as at the hospital in my hometown as a continuing medical education director. She helps to provide continuing medical education to physicians, residents, and other healthcare associates. I'd say I'm very close to both my parents and always have been, which is something that I'm very thankful for because I don't think everyone can say that about their parents. But I'm also close to both my siblings, but kind of in different ways. So me and my sister, like being a year apart, like we've done everything together like, since we were little. Um, starting from like ballet to we always like dressed up in our princess outfits, had little tea parties together, and I think just like growing up, being so close to her, helped me to build this relationship that I have with her, to where I can talk to her about almost anything now. My brother and I, we have always been very competitive with each other in almost everything we do, even now, especially with soccer. But I'm very grateful for the relationship that I have with both of them, as well as my parents. And then lastly, someone I'd like to mention is my Granny, who's also been a major part of my life, although she doesn't necessarily live with us. She has been to almost all of our games, like as long as she can make it, has been in town. She's always on the go doing what she loves, which is something that I look up to her for. And she's definitely where I get my love of travel and sense of adventure. So when first looking at colleges, I thought I wanted to go to a big school or somewhere warm, but as I went through high school, I realized that it'd be best for me to stay close to home just because I am so close to my family. So my senior year of high school, I decided to go to Lake Michigan Community College, which is about 10 minutes away from my house. So I got to live at home my first 2 years, and I also played soccer there. I got a full ride, so I was able to save money and travel to a few different places while at Lake Michigan College. My freshman year, I thought I wanted to do nursing, and I kind of started going that route, but as I continued on with my school, I realized that maybe it wasn't for me, but I knew I wanted to do something in the medical field, so I continued on with the science track and graduated with my associates in science with honors while being a student athlete. And in the fall of my sophomore year, while playing soccer, we actually scrimmaged Holy Cross, which is how I met Coach Omar. And he asked if I wanted to come to Holy Cross and play after my time at LMC. And initially, I said no, just because I didn't really want to do bio, and that was like the best route like I could have gone if I did come here. But with time, in the spring, so a couple months later, he contacted me again, and I ended up coming on a visit. And I really like enjoyed the school, small class sizes, and what Omar pitched to like be a great plan for a good team and like the team culture that he was trying to create. And I'm pretty sure that like the next day after my visit, I texted you and I committed verbally, which is something that was a good experience. So being a transfer student, I chose biology because I knew I wanted to go into the medical field, but at that rate I wasn't sure what yet. So taking biology classes here would help me, give me time to figure out what I wanted to do afterwards. So I'm going to go over a few classes that I took at LMC and Holy Cross that helped me decide what I want to do next after Holy Cross. So the first class is medical terminology, which I took at Lake Michigan College. There's definitely a lot of memorization, which is something that I'm not the best at. But I had a great professor who worked at the hospital at the time as a nurse. So she had a lot of stories and used like examples to help us just remember and like identify with the certain terms. So I think that helped me overall like get through the class, and I thought it was interesting to learn all these new terms and like the stories that she had that were like real world stories that I could relate to when learning about the terms. I definitely think it also helped me realize that I'm more of a hands-on learner. The genetics, which I took at Holy Cross, this was definitely the hardest class that I've ever had to take in my college experience. There was a lot of information that we had to learn, and it took up a lot of my time with studying, but it was so interesting to learn about everything. I did love the class. It was just very hard, but one thing that stood out to me the most was all the labs that we did. One of them being when we extracted DNA from a plant to try to determine the sex of the plant. I just thought it was so interesting, and I think overall it helped me to figure out what I wanted to do, or at least a step in the right direction of what I wanted to do after Holy Cross. The next class is public health, which I also took at Holy Cross. Again, like I knew I wanted to go into the medical field. I just didn't know like the direction. But this class, it helped me realize I think my passion for helping the others that necessarily like don't like have the ability to get the help that they need. We talked about a lot of like health disparities that we face in the world today, like in our country, in our community. Which is something that I think is like very important to address. And again, it was a very interesting class. And our professor used like a lot of the real world examples that we were able to put into like our studies, which helped me learn even better. And then lastly, modern social problems, which I took at Lake Michigan College. It was kind of similar to public health, except it was more general issues rather than just like the health aspect. During this class, I had to interview someone about the social problems that we face in our world today, and I chose to interview Dr. Lynn Todman, who is Executive Director of Population Health at Spectrum Health Lakeland, which is a hospital back in St. Joe. She talked about the disparities that she faces like in her department, and basically said that there should be more focus on trying to fix health inequality within our communities to get everyone like help that they need. And then of course, like we have to do an internship in order to graduate. So when trying to find my internship, I thought of Dr. Todman, and I contacted her and asked if she had anything that I could do, and she did. So I did my internship with Spectrum Health Lakeland under Lynn Todman. So it was under population health, and I was doing data analysis to try to identify certain factors that affect life expectancy within a community. I thought it was very interesting. It was definitely a lot of reading and writing, and I met with my supervisor like once a week just to talk about all the stuff that I was finding, and then she gave me suggestions on what I could do to continue finding and digging deeper pretty much into the topics. And kind of like public health class and modern social problems, like one of the main issues that we found again was like the health inequality that we have within each community. So trying to resolve that will hopefully in the long run fix or help increase the life expectancy within communities and not just certain groups. I definitely think this internship was interesting, but it's not something that I would want to do, which I'm glad I figured that out. Yeah, I think I definitely need to be like more involved in certain things. Holy Cross women's soccer. So I think that this has definitely been the biggest part of my experience at Holy Cross. Definitely took up a lot of my time. I think it's important because like before Omar contacted me, I wasn't really planning on continuing playing soccer after LMC. I was just going to focus on school and maybe play like pickup games, but that was it. But since he reached out, like I took this opportunity, and I'm so thankful that I did. Because the memories like on and off the pitch, like that we were able to create with like all 3 seasons that I was a part of, like helped turn the girls that I played with into more of like a family, which I'm very thankful for. I am a firm believer that things happen for a reason, and I think that for each season, like having a group of girls coming from like, all over the country and the world, definitely like a blessing in itself. And I'm thankful that I met and got to know everyone. And I'm also thankful, obviously, to the coaches for everything that they've done for me. But it's definitely gonna make it hard to leave. So what's next? So after Holy Cross, I plan on going to Andrews University to study medical laboratory science. It's a one-year program that starts in the fall of 2022. I think this is the best path for me because it's more of a behind-the-scenes type job. And I really enjoy doing lab work, so I think it's something that I will enjoy at least for the start. I also chose Andrews just because it's close to home, which is very important to me, like LMC and Holy Cross was. So I'll be close to family and close enough to come back and watch the Holy Cross girls play. Yeah, so this is what I think I want to do. And I'm excited to see what the future holds. Thank you everyone for coming.
Thanks, Audrey. Now the easy part, right? Now just the part that's a conversation between friends and advisors and people here. So well done. When you and I practiced, we kept looking at this idea of saying like capstones don't need themes, but oftentimes there's like a thread or a theme that emerges throughout them and comes through. And I think one place that I arrived, so it's, I can't say we, was this idea of like supporting communities, right? Supporting healthy communities, building healthy communities. And I think whether it's soccer or in the classroom, that's probably been something that you've really been a part of. Especially knowing how many people have come through the bio program, taken these difficult classes, but they've also been in this small environment too, right? Building teams and those things. So I'm wondering if maybe you can't, or if you could talk a little bit more about how you really think, let's just do classroom at first, like how you help build community within the people who've gone through the program with you in these bio courses.
Well, I mean, I have a lot of the classes, like the same classes with the same people, so I think that definitely helps. So like, as you take these courses, you get to know everyone like individually. And I think at first, I'm not the loudest person, so it took a second to fully like warm up to them. But I think at least like my second year, like I began to get to know everyone more, which I think was nice. Like it helps with like studying. Like then you get together with those people, and they help you with what they know, and you can help them with
Yeah, I like that it's not. So I was thinking a non-competitive environment, then, right? Saying like in academics, everybody's trying to help each other out. Now let's talk about like soccer and building a healthy community too. I mean, what do you do? What do you think that your approach has been in that avenue?
kind of similar. Like I'm not the most vocal person, but like leading by example in that sense, I guess. Doing what I need to do and then hoping others see that and they follow that.
Yeah. That's great.
A couple of others today when we bounce back and forth here. But I think what I love about the Capstone now is that Mr. Beck here, he has them recorded. So it's always good for you guys to go back and watch, right, the video we talk about in soccer, right? The film doesn't lie. And in this film here, what I always look for is when does the person that's doing their capstone kind of perk up, put a smile on their face, and get their chest up and like have that confidence. And I'm noticing that you talked about a couple different avenues here of what you've done in regards to choosing your career path. The two things that really stood out for me is one, and just funny because you learn something new about someone every day. And when we were out last week, they're having lunch, you spoke about travel. And today you mentioned that again. And when you mention travel, you get excited, you're happy. And then the other side of it is the medical education and whatnot as well, right? So those two things, I want you to think about how can you, apply those two things hand in hand, and what can you do in your career path as you move forward? What's your ideal dream job to kind of incorporate both medical field and travel? Have you thought about that?
I think I thought about it more when I was younger, like when I thought like nursing, like traveling nurse, like that's something. But I think it's gonna be a little harder, like working in the lab. So I'm just gonna have to like take the time off to make sure I can still travel, but like while working. because I think it's important to like get out and like relax. So.
Important to see new things too, right? To get out there and take things in. I'm going to ask a class-related question, and I don't know the answer for you, but I'll just say, over the first 6 weeks, we paused and said, you joined Holy Cross during this time where you had a whole year disrupted, then you came back and started to jump into senior capstone. So it can be a difficult adjustment, and you maybe hadn't had classes that focused on reflection or yourself as much as some other students might have had throughout their time. So we took those 6 weeks and we did 6 different exercises, right? And each week I gave you a journal and said, think about, you can think about this via these character traits that are yours, or let's think about gratitude, or let's think about your listening and family stories, and right, and talking to freshmen and giving advice. I'm just curious from like those weeks of reflection, which stood out to you and which is something that really maybe helped you put this presentation together.
I think I really liked the VIA character assessment. I don't really know why, but I think it just helped me like, I don't know, it's funny because like you take a test to like see what traits it gives you as your top traits. So like I didn't know what I was gonna get. So like seeing those, I think it just helped me like think about like yeah, I can see that. Like,
do you remember in a roundabout way, not exactly word for word, like what any of them came back as, or what it made you feel when you saw some of those two about it?
I think it was like hope, prudence, kindness, forgiveness, and honesty. Those were like the top 5. And I was just like, I think after looking at all of them, like I remember I showed my mom, and I think there was a few, like I showed her like the bottom ones, and she was like, that's not right.
She thought they should have been
fine.
Yeah.
She did, but
okay. It doesn't mean you don't have them, right? It's just where we most prominently have them placed. So then let's take those quick 5 and do me a quick favor. Say them one more time, a little bit slower if I can hear me.
Okay. Hope, prudence, forgiveness, honesty, and kindness.
Okay. So taking those 5 then, and thinking about not just in a lab setting, right, but labs are a part of a team. If you're doing some work, if you're helping, you're a part of a team, you're contributing. We're thinking about how to support and make healthy communities. We're thinking about your work is contributing to that, frontline worker and all those other people who are in the healthcare field. How do you think that mindset, those characteristics will help you out in the workplace?
I think like in the healthcare field, in the medical field, there's always like some negative aspect, like there could be like some negative aspect. So like having hope that like something can be cured and like someone can get better, I think that'll help. And prudence, like that's cautiousness, so just like being careful, like precise, like with the word. Forgiveness and honesty, I mean, I don't really know what that goes with, but being truthful, I guess, like, and then kindness, just like getting along with the people that I am working with or people that like I'm helping.
Fantastic, great.
Second part similar, but let's say what was the difference from year 1 to year 3 with your own personal growth, both on and off the field? Because each year you've improved academically and athletically, and how can you carry that on to what you do next in life?
I think my first year I was definitely not the loudest. I'm still not the loudest, but definitely was a lot quieter. But I think it just takes me a bit to like warm up to people. So like once I got like closer to the girls, then I was able to like open myself up in that way. And I think that's like the same for like on the field at first. Like maybe I was like a little nervous, like new team. I wasn't quite sure like exactly where I fit in yet. So like just having these last like 3 seasons, like not only like watching other girls improve, but just like being there, like that's what helped me like grow as a player, like and just like I guess wanting it more, like seeing that it was possible, like to make it as far as we did.
Running low here soon, which I'm probably grateful for, but let me think about one, like if I could ask you about one more experience that didn't fit into this capstone presentation. Somehow it didn't quite fit the narrative of this learning about the sciences and then saying, oh, I think who I care about from within the sciences is this issue of like that affects communities and affects all of us. And then what role can I play? And then like, oh, I like this hands-on, I like this lab work, I like being out there, I like doing that. And then having that chance with your internship. There's got to be other experiences that have been for you that have enriched your time here, an art class or an English class or something like that that was just a little bit different. What's another experience that didn't fit this that that you would say was really important to your time at school?
I'd probably do like echo coaching on Fridays. Did it like a couple weeks, like 6 weeks, 7 weeks. I did that like every Friday for at least like 3 semesters, I think. And that's something that I really enjoyed. Like kids don't always like listen, especially like the younger ones, but like seeing them just, like having fun and like learning slowly. I think that was a good experience for me.
I got one that I end with, and I end with for most capstones. And it's a big question, but that's kind of sometimes my thing. Is to name it for yourself, because if the video doesn't lie, then hopefully in the future, and you're like, why am I watching this? It might be because of the answer to this question. So what are you most proud of yourself for accomplishing between your 2 schools? Or contributing to it?
Well, I hope that I was able to contribute to a good team culture here. Like, I like to think I was like able to, so.
You said you want to stay connected, so I'll let you go.
Okay.
All right, so we'll say thank you one more time.